Hey guys, welcome to the final whistle. Hopefully, this podcast reaches you in a video form.
Nate, I think your mic's still muted.
Hey guys, welcome to the final whistle podcast. I'm having some technical issues, a bit like VAR as usual, but hopefully this podcast does reach you in a video format. We had some technical issues last week. It was a bit of a glitch, but hopefully, fingers crossed, everything goes well for us. And joining me, as always, is the awesome Ben Pescod. Welcome back, Ben.
Yeah, it's been it feels like a long weekend. It feels like ages ago since that Chelsea game on Friday night. And obviously we've still got the main event tomorrow night to look forward to. So, but there's still plenty of things to talk about, and yeah, looking forward to it.
There is indeed. And let's talk about the 4:30 kickoff. Manchester United went to Craven Cottage. Fulham won, Manchester United won. What did you make of this one? Because there were some really positive signs about Man United last week against Arsenal with the attack. We just said their first touch was a bit ropey. I felt like they were very, very lucky in this game. And I think Fulham are going to be absolutely gutted that they're sharing points. There's a penalty, of course, Bassi, the full bringing down of the player. And Bruno Fernandes absolutely skies it. And then in the second half, Yoro scores, and there's a clear foul on Bassi again. But the inconsistency in VAR, talk to me about that. And obviously that super sub Smith Rowe doing great things for Fulham. But yeah, just your overall takeaway from that game. I just feel like United just look really, really dreadful in midfield. And I do think that Belieber thing, they are really going to regret, because they are screaming for somebody there, a body, in my opinion.
Yeah, I thought they started really well. I thought Cunha looked brilliant again, and he probably should score. Well, he hits the post with one, and that volley where he's through on goal, he should probably score as well. And I think if they go, you're looking at a completely different game. But then from there, they kind of just lost grip of the game. And I mean, you've got to give a lot of credit to Fulham as well. I kind of had them as maybe a team that would struggle a little bit this season because they've literally signed no one. But I think you can kind of tell how kind of cohesive they are because they haven't lost anyone either. And yeah, I think they were unlucky not to win. I thought the penalty was harsh because I agree. I agree that Bassi's fouled him, but if you look 2 yards behind Bassi, you see Luke Shaw wrestle a Fulham player to the ground. So it's the exact same thing. So it's just as much a free kick to Fulham as it is a penalty to Man United. But I think that's where the limitations of VAR come in, because it can only kind of look at penalties and not free kicks. But yeah, overall, I think Man United will be quite relieved to get a point by the end of it. They do look better, but you don't get points for being better. And I think it's 7 out of 30 games now Amarim's won in the Premier League. So, yeah, it's not great reading for Man United fans, but the signs are there.
They are. And you touched on Cunha there, and I felt like he started off so bright. And I felt like as the game went on, the duo that started in Buemo and Cunha kind of fizzled out for me. And it was just like they kind of shrunk to the stature of Man United. Now, Cunha has come from a team like Wolves who really, really struggled, and he was the guy that got them out of tricky situations. I just feel like he's just kind of, that game kind of swallowed him, and I felt like he kind of was overshadowed by, I don't know, the collective disjointedness of Man United. I think, to put it nicely, would probably be the best way to put it that way. United, yeah, there are positive signs. But like you said, I think the fans are just screaming for like a real positive result. And a little side note for you, what do you think? I mean, Bruno Fernandes skied that one. He is a designated penalty taker. They've bought an array of strikers now. Do you think somebody else should be given the duties of penalty taking?
I don't know. I mean, we've seen it ourselves in Liverpool. Salah missing a couple lately, but I think you would still keep him on him, wouldn't you? But it's funny to see, Bruno, and the way he kind of tries to blame the referee who kind of knocks into him before he takes the penalty. It's just comedic, but Yeah, I mean, I feel a little bit bad for Bruno getting pushed back into that deeper role alongside Casemiro, who literally cannot run. Yeah, they're screaming out for a midfielder. It baffles me that they've signed all these forwards, which seems to be working. But the midfield's really the big issue. I thought defensively they were quite strong again. I mean, the keeper, I think, is really poor. But I thought the back three performed quite well again, same as last week. Yeah, I think overall, I think a draw was almost a fair result. Maybe just edged it towards Fulham, but yeah, it's just frustrating for Man United, I'd imagine.
It is, and a little shout out to Alex Iwobi and Smith Rowe as well, who I thought was a massive impact. And
Yeah.
of course, Wilson as well, who I thought was absolutely skinning Drogu at every opportunity that he absolutely could. So yeah, Fulham positive signs there. And like you said, no signings, nobody's left. Mooney's looks like he's going to be staying now, from what I understand, but there's still a few days for the transfer window. Who knows? Keep your eyes open. Right, we touched on Man United there. That one finished 1-1. I'm going to take you all the way back to Friday. And it finished West Ham 1, Chelsea 5. We were taking the mick at them last week on the audio, if you heard, saying they look toothless in attack. And egg on our face, 5 different goal scorers. They go a goal behind. You're absolutely laughing, thinking, oh, West Ham got their stuff together. And absolute chaos descends. The new boy, João Pedro, scores as well, which is pretty awesome for them. But 5-1 it finished. I mean, what did you make of this? I felt like it was a really, really easy task for Chelsea. They didn't really have to fight off an awful lot, but West Ham, my God, they look so shambolic. And I think Alvarez has now gone to Fenerbahce as well. Like, they just look like they're just descending into all kinds of, I don't know, a club that, like you touched on last week, potentially could be in big danger. And, Potter's job as well. So take it away.
I mean, I think it's important to say Chelsea were good. Pedro Neto really impresses me every single time I watch them. He's so quick. But I think West Ham was so bad.
Yeah.
So bad. I'll be surprised if Graham Potter's still in the job by maybe October. I think they've got some tricky fixtures coming up as well, which doesn't help this case. But defensively, they look all over the place. And I mean, the keeper, I never really like to go in too hard on keepers because it's really hard position, and one mistake and you really do pay for it. But that's 3 or 4 howlers he's had in the first 2 games, so his confidence is absolutely shot now. I think they need to get some signings in, because at the minute it just looks like get the ball to Paqueta and Bowen and just pray, and that's kind of what it was last week as well. Yeah, they're just so slow, so fragile, and Chelsea, the complete opposite, so quick, and I think they just punished them. But yeah, it's not looking good for West Ham at the minute.
It's not. And, just going back to that game, I remember West Ham taking the lead and João Pedro getting the equaliser. And I remember Flecken getting the goal box. It was ruled off, rightly so. But there was a moment where it looked like, it looked quite end-to-end, and it looked quite a competitive game. And then I just think the way they folded, like, a deck of cards, West Ham, which was quite catastrophic. And it kind of reminded me of them last season against Chelsea as well. A similar kind of vibe where their midfield just got walked straight through. So, yeah, things are not looking good for West Ham. And, Potter's certainly got his job there. Let's move on to the Saturday 12:30 kickoff. Thomas Frank and Spurs, my word, going to the Etihad. Man City look like the most competitive and cohesive side from game week 1. Like, their new signings look like they've really, really settled. Man City 0, Tottenham 2. I mean, what have you got to say about this one? Because this one really surprised me, because I watched the build-up and I heard City fans saying, Liverpool, watch your back, we're coming for you. And, there was a big talk and big, bravado about them. I also saw somebody that I follow on social media called Nazi. Nazi, I think he's called, or Nazi. He tweeted that Pep Guardiola's lost all mojo since Jurgen Klopp's left. And I thought it was quite funny because the competitive edge is gone. But talk to me about this one, because I think this one really surprised me. But a huge result for Thomas Frank, who I think we all really like. Yeah,
it was like Jekyll and Hyde for Man City. I think we all did last week when we saw the performance. We thought, they're back to maybe not the way they were before, because they were at serious levels before, but they looked really promising, and Reinders, the way he played. And then yesterday was literally like going in a time machine to last season. It was the exact same problems I had last season, where they just looked so slow and couldn't create anything. And then obviously you chuck in the mistake from Trafford, and Tottenham capitalise. And Tottenham do look good as well. It's important that Kudus looks really, really good for them. And I think Palhinha is a really smart signing for them as well. So I think they'll be an exciting team to watch. But I think that kind of pack that's going for the title, I think, will take encouragement from how Man City played, because I think there's a lot of the issues that they haven't quite rectified from last season, or it might just take a bit of time. Obviously, Rodri's injured again, isn't he? So,
So St. Newbury, he came off as well, and I feel like that's when the goals kind of happened as well straight after that, because I think he's been doing really well for them. Yeah, that is definitely worth highlighting there. And you touched on Trafford there, and obviously he's being picked ahead of Edison right now. And it was just the most simplest of ever, like literally on his wrong foot. He wasn't panicked. I understand Man City like to play at the back. I get that completely. He wasn't under any pressure, and for him to just play on his wrong foot, where I think it was Sarr that pressed him, and then they kind of lost the ball, and then it kind of bubbled, and of course I think it was Paulinho who scored the goal. But just kind of the concentration, which is not something that I know last season Man City had a bit of a lurgy season, but usually you don't expect those lapses of concentration. I understand he's a young goalkeeper, but those things are really costly.
Yeah. And well, the look like they might be getting Donnarumma in, which obviously on the face of it, brilliant business, probably the best keeper in the world last season. But he's rubbish with his feet as well. Obviously, I know there's a massive quality difference between Trafford and Donnarumma in terms of shot stopping and just his presence, but he's not great from playing out the back either. But it'll be interesting to see if they get him in, or whether Edison comes back in. I don't think you can have Trafford as your starting keeper just yet. I think he's really promising, but I don't think he's ready to be Man City's number one for like a title charge season. So, yeah, it'll be interesting to see what they do.
Indeed. Let's move on to the 5:30. Arsenal 5, Leeds United 0. 2 goals for Timber, 2 for Gyökeres and Saka. Of course, there were some injury scares to Saka and Odegaard. Of course, they're playing Liverpool next week as well, so we're very, very intrigued and interested about those developments. What did you make of that? I thought it was a standard Arsenal performance. They won 5-0. I wasn't scared. They weren't inspirational. I do have a question for you, though. Is Timber going to be the new set-piece threat that Gabriel was last season?
Maybe. My friend, for some reason, captained him on FPL. Don't ask me. I have no idea why, but I mean, I can't really...
Genius.
But yeah, he was brilliant, wasn't he? And I thought Arsenal were really good. It was just like, the word routine kind of probably doesn't do them the justice that they deserve, because it was a really good performance, but they were just better than Leeds and they took the chances. And it's huge relief for them for Gyökeres scoring. I'm still not completely convinced on him. I mean, us as Liverpool fans know how many times did Núñez score 1 or 2 and we got carried away, and it was never really the answer. Because he really struggled in the first half as well, Gyökeres. So, yeah, I'm still not convinced on that, but Arsenal were really good. And Max Downman, 15 years old and coming on. Yeah. I thought he dived for the penalty, I will say that, but he still looked really, really talented. And, 15 years old is just absolutely bonkers.
It is. What were you doing at 15? I certainly wasn't doing any of that.
No.
Probably getting told off for being naughty and doing, rebellious things. But yeah, fair play to them and him as well. Let's move on. Shall we talk about Everton? 2-0 to Brighton. New stadium, new vibes. Grealish 2 assists. The Hill Dickinson Stadium. They're unbeaten there. Talk to me about this one.
I thought they started pretty poor, to be honest. I thought Brighton were the better team to start. How Brighton didn't score in that first half, I do not know. And then obviously they missed a penalty in the second half as well. I think the scoreline does flatter Everton, but they won't care in the slightest. It was kind of like a workman-like, grinded out performance. But I think that is the potential that's there with Everton. They have this hard work and team that they always have, full of absolute units, but they do also now have the quality of, well, they had Njai already, but now Grealish looks quite good. Dewsbury Hall looks promising. So they're kind of trying to find that balance. I think they'll be fine this season. Some people are jumping on the bandwagon, as always, to say Everton will go down, but they'll be absolutely fine. But yeah, I'd be a little bit frustrated if I was a Brighton fan, but again, I don't think there's anything to worry about. I think they played quite well. Just couldn't take the chances, and then were punished at the other end.
Indeed. And of course, a great result for David Moyes after obviously the setback and the disappointment against Leeds, where I thought they were terrible and deserved to lose, regardless of that penalty shout or not.
Yeah.
So, yeah, great 3 points for Everton there. Let's move on. I thought this one would be a bit more tenacious, given with everything what's going on. Crystal Palace won, Nottingham Forest won. Of course, you know, we are potentially thinking that Nuno might be in a little bit of trouble with his owner. You know, there's, you know, like I don't even know what to make of that owner, so I'll just stay quiet. Of course, there's added spice with the whole Palace ending up in the conference and Nottingham Forest getting Europa, which, you know, I actually wanted Palace to win for that reason, because I just feel like they were just a little bit robbed. And of course, Eze leaving, and of course the potential of maybe Guehi, is he going to stay, is he going to go, and of course he is linked to Liverpool. So with all that, I kind of wanted Palace to win, I'm not going to lie. It finished 1-1. Sarr in the first half, Hudson-Odoi in the second. I think with my neutral head, maybe a point each is fair. What do you think?
Yeah, well, I was flicking between the two. I watched the Everton game mostly, but I saw glimpses of this game, and it seemed a little bit boring, a little bit from what I saw. Maybe I was just turning it on at the wrong times, but I mean, yeah, Forest.
I was watching it; it wasn't great.
Yeah, I think Forest will be disappointed. I think because they had so many chances at the end to win it. I think Hutchinson came on and missed 2 pretty good chances, and I think Nuno was pretty angry at him. And I'm sure they hit the bar from, I think it was Jesus, the new striker. But yeah, I think the point, I don't think either of them will complain necessarily. I think they'll both take a point from that, to be honest. I do think Forest will be good this season. It'll be interesting to see how Palace perform after losing Eze and potentially Guehi and who they bring in. But Glasner's a really good manager. I think they'll be fine regardless. So, yeah.
Absolutely. Watch this space. 3 more games to go, Ben. Just quickly, we'll just run through the results really quick. But Burnley 2, Sunderland 0. 3 o'clock kickoff, that one. All 3 promoted sides have won, which is really, really positive for them now. Yeah. So much more better than the trash that we had last season.
Yeah, I think it was like 5th of October before a promoted team won last season, and all 3 of them have won already. So definitely makes things a bit more entertaining and interesting, and the struggles of the other teams around them. So hopefully we have an actual relegation battle this season, because I love a relegation battle, but last year was like, I think it was done by like March.
Yeah, watch this space. We want it to go to the last game of the season. The league, hopefully, as a Liverpool sport, I hope it's kind of wrapped up quite early. We would like that. Yeah, want to just kind of breathe easy. But yes, the relegation battle, please let it be a bit more competitive. But shout out to all the promoted sides for getting 3 points. I like that. It's becoming very interesting. This one surprised me. Brentford 1, Aston Villa 0. New boy Ouattara scoring the goal for them. Good stuff for Brentford, because I actually thought they were in problems and in difficulty, but the new boy scoring for them, positive stuff. Anything from there? I do like Brentford. I do hope they do well. It'll be very interesting with all the changes that have happened. Your thoughts?
Yeah, happy for Kelleher, clean sheet.
Yes.
Villa haven't scored a goal yet, which is a bit strange for them. You know, when you think of Watkins, Rodgers, I think they're just missing a bit of spark. I think someone like Asensio was providing them at the end of last season. Again, I think they'll be absolutely fine. I don't think they'll get the top 5 spot that they may be hoping for. I think it went a little bit bland compared to what they were maybe like 6-12 months ago. But yeah, it's a huge win for Brentford, because everyone's really concerned about them. So to get that first win under Keith Andrews, he'll be absolutely buzzing with that. And if they can keep Visser, then who knows? They might be a completely different team. I think their season does... No, I mean, it's a bit dramatic to say their season relies on it, because with the way he spatters Dummy out, who's to say that he even comes back and plays wholeheartedly. But yeah, I think it'll be a big point of the season trying to keep Visser.
Absolutely. Last game, brief touch on this one. Bournemouth 1, Wolves 0. Tavernier gets an early goal 4 minutes in. Totti gets sent off. But I feel like Wolves have like a bit of a disciplinary issue. I felt like they had this problem last season as well, where the players always constantly got sent off. Your thoughts on this one? I feel like finally this might be the season where Wolves might be in a little bit of bother with all the players that they're selling. A bit like Southampton. Remember they kept swerving?
Yeah.
And then that one season where it was just like, there's nothing left in the sales anymore. And I feel like this could potentially, I mean, it's too early to say, but I mean, your thoughts?
I think we're in the exact same spot this year as what we were last year with Wolves. I remember having the exact same conversation about them selling Neto and Ruben Neves and Kilman to West Ham, who obviously hasn't really done much at West Ham, but and having replaced them, and they're doing it again this summer with Cunha and Aït-Nouri. And if you remember last season, they were getting sending off. I seem to remember Lamina and Cunha always fighting after the final whistle and stuff. So I think they could be definitely down there. Which is strange. They look nothing like the Wolves team that finished the season. Obviously, I know they've lost key players, but Pereira had them set up really well, and they look like a shell of that team. So I think they need a few bodies in before the deadline day and take it from there. But it doesn't look great for them.
It doesn't indeed. We've kind of touched all the games there. I mean, your brief thoughts on the Monday kickoff and Monday night football. It's going to be really, really tasty. It's going to be really, really spicy. Got nothing to do with a certain striker that plays for Newcastle. I mean, have you got any takeaways or thoughts about this one? I've got this horrible feeling that Joe Linton is going to try doing a very, really nasty mark on Ekitike. Obviously, still coming to lose. I don't know. It's just going to be a really, really aggressive, horrible atmosphere more than usual, and calm heads are going to be required from Liverpool. I mean, anything you want to add to that?
I think that's the main worry is someone picking up an injury because Joe Linton's an absolute idiot.
He's a hooligan in a football shirt. Let's just say
that. And I mean, like you say, if someone like Ekitike picks up an injury, then our front line's not really, really better at the minute. So that's the main worry, even probably above the result. Because I don't think there'll be many trickier games in this whole season, to be honest. Monday night at St James's Park with everything that's going on. Yeah. I've actually got a preview coming out on It Was Always Liverpool on the Substack tomorrow morning. So that'll be out ahead of the game. So, yeah, that'll be a big read. And I do talk about kind of fighting against the noise and how calm heads will be the way to win it. And I mean, we've done it before. We've played in more hostile environments than this. So it'll be a good game. But I think Liverpool might just edge it. I think the quality might come through in the end. And I think Newcastle not having a striker will be huge as well.
I actually do agree with you on that as well. That does give me a little bit of a breathing spot, the fact that, Isak won't be featuring or involved in that. I think that's fair, and I think that's succinct. I think people do check out the Substack. It's Always Liverpool. Do check out Ben's article. I did a little video very similar on the touch points as well. If you want, you can follow me on Instagram. I'm on TikTok as well. But yeah, I did a little mini video about the preview, and those were my little concerns as well. Great minds think alike, Ben. This is why we do this show. This is why we do this podcast. Before I let you go, you've hinted at your article. Anything else you'd like to plug? Where can people find you on social media? Anything else you're working on? Fire away.
I should hopefully have an interview with Nigel Winterburn, who was obviously an Arsenal defender. So there'll be a few articles from that this week, hopefully. But there's always stuff on my Twitter, Ben Pescott Journal on Twitter. So you can just check it out, and everything that I do, whether it's for Substack or Anfield Index, EPL Index, it will all be on there. So yeah.
Wonderful stuff. Do check out Ben's work. Guys, hopefully this does reach you. I feel like we've had a good successful recording. But guys, thank you so much for watching. Thank you so much for listening. Feel free to share your thoughts. Give us your response as well. Oh, Ben, before I let you go, I have to, like last season, I had this weird fixation with Southampton and their XG. Who do you think I should keep an eye out for?
I'm trying to think who's like the most blunt. Burnley probably, even though they've done well this weekend. I think Burnley could be one that don't generate much XG across the season. Yeah.
Right. I'm going to be a Burnley nerd now, guys. Watch this space. This is my thing for the season. Guys, thank you so much for watching. Thank you so much for listening. Take care. Till next time. We'll catch you soon.